What is up, everyone? I hope you're doing great because today is Saturday now, November 7th. Happy AEW Full Gear Day. We're going to definitely be talking about that. But this is episode 75 of the Let's Talk Wrestling podcast. I'm glad that I've gotten this far because I was concerned when I first started this wrestling podcast that I would not be able to maintain it, but it's been doing well. The past couple of episodes have really been blowing up. So I want to thank you, everyone, for listening to this content. I intend on fully keeping it going as long as I possibly can. And it's been fun, and we're going to continue growing. We've had a lot of growth over the last maybe 3 months with MA ratings in our podcast network, and I really appreciate all the support there. As always, you can follow us at MMAratings.net and .com. That's our flagship, and you can check out our content there. You can hit us up across social media at Instagram and Twitter, MMA Ratings Net in both spaces, and our podcasts can be found on Anchor, Spotify, Google Podcasts, Apple iTunes, and much more. Well, not much more. That's really just it. But for tonight, I'm going to be talking about AEW Full Gear. I'm going to be talking about WWE content and why it sucked as of late, and also some of the bright spots as well. I'm not going to be doing the show by show breakdown because it's just really been a week of bad content for WWE. And I also want to do a preview of the Super J Cup, which is set for next month. So we have a lot to really talk about. Well, maybe not a whole lot, but I'm really looking forward to diving into this AEW Full Gear preview. So let's go ahead and start there because this is a show that everyone is really intrigued about. And I am not going to lie, I was not looking forward to this show maybe up through Wednesday of this week. I intend on purchasing every AEW event just because that's another way to support to go along with watching. And like I said, when next time they come back to DC when it's safe, I intend on going back to their events as well. But this show just did not have me interested at all. But they've sold me on it this last week, especially with this past week's edition of the hell is the show AEW Dynamite. They've done a great job selling some of these matches, and I'm going to treat this pay-per-view the same way I treat all the WWE pay-per-views when I talk about them. Um, and I focus on the matches that I care about the most, and I probably won't. There's a couple matches on this card I don't care about, and I won't really talk about. But there's a lot here that I am interested in talking about. So let's go ahead and dive into that. So the first match I want to talk about is this new match that popped up this week with Serena Deeb and Allison Kay. Now, I don't know how long this match has been getting booked, and the interesting thing about that is that Allison Kay announced her free agency on Monday, was it? It was either Monday or Tuesday. I wrote about it this week. But she announced her free agency, and then by Wednesday, this match was booked with her and Serena Deeb fighting on the pre-show for the NWA World's Women's Championship. That's a mouthful to say. Deeb defeated Thunder Rosa for that belt on October 27th, and it set up a lot of rumors around what's next for Rosa. Now, Kay comes in as a former champion. I think Thunder Rosa beat her for the belt, and now we have this match. Now, there isn't any confirmations about whether or not Thunder Rosa has been signed by WWE. She's focusing on MMA and what is she doing. So there's some space around this match here to go a couple of different ways. I am expecting Allison Kay to win. I think AEW is really going to go hard for her and try to sign her to a deal. I'm expecting her to win, but they can also Serena Deeb can also become a legit individual in that division because she's signed to AEW and she could become a legit individual in that division, keeping that belt around her waist. So it'll be interesting to see how this really plays out here because I don't know if Kay is signed to AEW. I don't think so, but I would put money that they're going to make a hard push to make her a part of their roster, and I expect her to take the title on Saturday. But I am really looking forward to this match because I've kind of become interested in Allison Kay as a wrestler. You know, I'm a fan of Marnie Bell, I'm a fan of Thunder Rosa, and Kay rocks with them, and they're really close. So let's see how this match goes. But I'm really interested in this match here. So this the first match. Actually, these next two matches are the two matches I don't care about. Orange Cassidy and John Silver. Don't care. I expect Orange Cassidy to win. MJF versus Chris Jericho. If MJF wins, he's allowed to join the inner circle. I expect MJF to win, and I expect him to eventually boot Jericho out of the inner circle. Don't give a fuck about that feud as well, or even that match. Both of those can fall off the card for all I care. And that's one thing about AEW's pay-per-views, I will say, is that they're exceptionally long. I cannot stand it. And I hope this event will not be super long, but it probably will be, and I will probably be um, hating myself when I sit and watch it completely through. But at least these two matches, I probably will fast forward through if I watch it after the UFC event tomorrow, but don't care about either one of them. So let's move on to the second women's match on this card, and it's Hikaru Shida against Nyla Rose. This is also for the women AEW Women's World Title, and I'm interested in this match. It hasn't gotten the best build on the show at all, and a lot of people are complaining about that, rightfully so. There's a lot that they're missing with this women's division, and Shida is definitely a bright spot to it. Nyla Rose is really good too. She's really come along over these last few months, and she's grown a lot from her first title run to this rematch here. Personally, I think that Shida's going to retain the title. I just don't see them putting the belt back on Rose right now. I do think Shida's going to lose it to Britt Baker right after this, which I'm not the biggest fan of, but I get it. Baker is their money name right now in the women's division. I get that. Once she's healthy, they're going to want to strap the rocket to her. But I am under the belief that this match will be better than their first one, and their first one was good. Their first one was a show stealer, and I think this one right here has the opportunity to do that as well too. It doesn't have the stipulation of the weapons aspect to it, so they won't be able to hide as much with Rose from a wrestling standpoint. But I think she's come along better than where she was then, and I think they're going to have a good match between the two. So I'm looking forward to that, and I expect Shida to keep the title there. Now, the third match that I don't care about in this card, Matt Hardy versus Sammy Guevara. Don't give a fuck. I think Sammy's going to win and close out that feud, even though they're 2-2 against each other. So him winning doesn't necessarily, or excuse me, they're 2-1 with Matt Hardy having the advantage. So with Sammy winning, it doesn't necessarily evolve or push the story forward. But you know, it is what it is. I'm not too excited about that match. We have four of the matches on this card, which I think will be pretty interesting as well. And let me see which one I do first. I'm gonna do Cody and Darby Allin first. I'm not gonna say I don't care about this match. Um, but this is I was just wrote about this. This is their fourth match. Darby Allin has not defeated Cody Rhodes in a singles matchup. I think this is going to be the first time that happens. I think that they're going to put that TNT title on Darby Allin, and I think this is the right time to get it off of Cody and to make his heel turn. I do believe he's going to reform the Four Horsemen with FTR and Shawn Spears, but let's touch on that. But I think this is going to be a good match. I think they're going to fake for the time limit draw, but Darby's going to pull it out at the end. And I would like to see Cody do something different. I want that TNT title to elevate the card right now, and right now it's just elevating Cody. I don't feel like it's elevating anyone else. So let's see what happens there. And I think Darby is going to take the belt from him. We have FTR versus the Young Bucks. And this has been interesting to watch how this matchup has been built. It's for the tag team titles, and if the Young Bucks lose, they can never challenge for the tag team titles again. I think that's a dead giveaway to me. But this match has been very interesting from a booking standpoint because the consensus is that the booking for it has sucked up to now. And I don't really know where to put my thumb on it, what's wrong with this booking, but it doesn't seem, I guess convoluted is a word to use because I feel like it doesn't need this booking where they have the stipulation of will never challenge for the tag team titles again. This is this AEW Full Gear in 2019 is when Cody did this same stipulation and kicked off the feud with MJF because he lost that match. MJF turned on him. So now you have this, and you're like, what is this going to mean? I think they are going to win the titles here because it would be stupid to have the same thing happen to another set of EVPs a year to the day. Plus, FTR, I'm going to whisper it because I don't think you're allowed to say it too loud. But FTR has not looked great in AEW. They haven't. And few people have speculated, not speculated, but they've kind of rumbled and thrown the idea out there that their NXT runs may have been because of who they were working with. They were working with DIY. They were working with American Alpha. So those groups seem to have worked well. And the question now is, was that more about them or was that more about FTR, I almost said FDR, FTR, because they have not looked at, they have not looked as good as they once did. I'm just going to go ahead and say it. They have not looked as good as they once did. So let's go ahead and move on to the next match because, well, let me back up for a second. What else do I want to say about this FTR Young Bucks match? And another thing is that it was speculated often, or excuse me, it's been speculated from what I've heard that this was originally scheduled to be the main event, but it's not anymore. I'm gonna talk about why in a second. But I am not that. I want to. It's going to be a good match. I know that. I think these guys are gonna go out there and fucking kill it. But I don't think it's going to be what everyone is expecting it to be. I just am not that excited for it. And I hate to really say that, especially after what we've seen the Young Bucks deliver as a part of AEW so far. But maybe having low expectations will make this match better. But I'm definitely coming in with some damn low expectations. This brings me to the two big matches that I think that are really going to carry this show, in my opinion. See, I was really going to say I think you put them as main and co-main event, but I don't think you can fully do that. Maybe you kick off the show with Adam Page versus Kenny Omega, and then end the show with Jon Moxley, Eddie Kingston. Jon Moxley, Eddie Kingston is already going to be the main event. That's been announced. But I could see them really starting the night off with Adam Hangman Page versus Kenny Omega. And this is an interesting match to me because it's still not clear if, well, Kenny is the heel. He is the jackass heel. Page is the babyface that people can get behind with the drinking problem, and he's the sympathetic character. But I don't know if they're going to pull the trigger on Adam Page yet. I don't know if we're going to get. I expect Jon Moxley to defeat Eddie Kingston. I'm going to be talking about that in a second. But I expect Kenny Omega to get the win, and we go back to a Moxley Omega feud. I feel like it's a little rushed, in my opinion, and I don't like that. I really think Omega and Moxley could be a feud that could last a whole year, and it could be amazing for that whole year. AEW can do it. And I feel like with for as great as they are in the storytelling space, and they continue to be great in that space, they rush things a little bit. I'll give you an example. The MJF versus Cody feud, I think that they rushed that. I think they could have slowed it down, gave us like a tag team title run out of those two guys, and then have the breakup occur. But they didn't. They just went right into the split. Kenny Omega and John Moxley is a little bit too early. It's a little bit too. It's okay. We had a tournament for 3 weeks, 2 weeks. We get this match the next week. Moxley and Page have their match. And the thing is, because all of Moxley's opponents have kind of like just gone away to the mid card. Brody Lee did that. Brian Cage did that. Eddie Kingston almost did that, but he's risen back up. Lance Archer did that. Lance now has a title shot as well too. So that's why I think that they can extend things a little bit. They can have this Page and Omega matchup be something where they are going longer, because they didn't say when the title, they didn't say when well, no, Lance Archer already had his title opportunity, didn't he? Now I have to check. Because I think he had that on the anniversary show. If I'm wrong, I may be wrong on that. I've been wrong on other things in the past. So let me see. John Moxley, according to Cage Match, yeah, him and Lance Archer had that match last month. So I'm wrong about that. So we'll see what happens with this Kenny Omega too. But I wish that they, with him and Adam Page, I wish they drew things out a little bit longer and allowed it to fester more, in my opinion. And that brings me to the last match of the card, the main event, Eddie Kingston versus John Moxley. To just jump right to the finish, Moxley's winning and he's keeping his title, period. But I think this is going to be not violent, I'm not going to say super violent match. It's going to be violent, but it's not going to be Kenny Omega versus John Moxley, unsanctioned match violent. It's going to be, it's just going to be, they're just going to beat the shit out of each other. I don't think they're going to go the whole weapons, tax, etc., side of it. I don't think they're going to go that far. But these guys are going to beat the hell out of each other. And it's not going to be fun. It's not going to be fun because, it's going to be fun for us to watch, but it's not going to be fun for them to go through it. And this is the thing about these two guys is they're not wrestlers. They're not the wrestlers. They're not going to get out here like Kyle O'Reilly and Finn Balor and have a wrestling match. This is going to be a fight, and it's going to be delivered very well. The story is what it is, and it's really helped elevate this match. Like I was saying, this wasn't supposed to be the main event. I think the Bucks and FTR are supposed to be the main event because that's what we've been waiting for years. These two guys have told the story in a way that's seen them get elevated to the top of this card. And I believe that they're going to deliver in that spot. But I'm looking forward to this because I know I'm trying to think of an analogy to this in a match that kind of delivered along the same lines. Not even the Shawn Michaels Ric Flair match. Maybe the Shawn Michaels Undertaker match, in my opinion. Not saying that it's that high of stakes, that high of a moment, but it definitely has me as invested as that second match between Taker and Shawn Michaels. I am invested in seeing how this plays out. I do believe that Moxley wins, but I think this is going to elevate Kingston because he's going right into a situation with Pac after this. Pac was on the show on Wednesday. I don't know if he's back in the States. I don't know if he makes an appearance on Saturday. I doubt it. But hey, WWE got Tony Storm back. They got Rich Holland over here. So let's kind of see what happens because I'm interested in this match as the main event. And I think that Pac may return. I don't think so, but Moxley's definitely going over. And Kingston he's not going to be relegated to the mid card, but this is going to help bump him up, in my opinion. Wow, we've gone about 20 minutes, and that's been my AEW Full Gear preview. So let's move on to some WWE content. And as I said, leading into the show, leading into the intro with the topics and all that this evening, AEW content Oh, excuse me, AEW content. WWE content sucks this week. And it's the laziness of the booking that is probably the most frustrating. And it's so unfortunate that it has been as bad as it is because it's just so frustrating because they have so much talent on this roster that they just fail to utilize week after week after week after week. And we as viewers sit down watching it because you hope that it's going to be better this week and you don't want to miss it. You don't want to miss those good moments that you can say, yeah, that's what I want to see every week. And that's why we sit down in front of our TVs Monday, Wednesday, Friday, hoping for something better, and we don't get that. But we keep watching week after week, week after week, week after week. The distraction finishes, the interferences, the lack of care. It's almost as if they don't care about their content every week and they don't tell us the story of why it's important enough to watch. Why are we still seeing Rey Mysterio and Seth Rollins feud? Why are we still seeing this same old Retribution and Hurt Business stuff? Why? There's so little that's interesting on the show or new enough to be interesting on the show every week that it's pointless. Why are we still seeing Randy Orton and Drew McIntyre? What is the point of all this shit? Like that's the best way to describe it, and none of it is enjoyable, and their content has just not been good, and it's seeping into NXT too. It's slowly seeping into NXT. So I don't want to complain about WWE content all the time. There's plenty of shows out there that do that. So I do want to talk about just a couple of bright spots that I really appreciated from this past week. Dakota Kai, I love her. She reminds me of someone that's near and dear to my heart, but she's grown on me and she has slowly come into this character, the heel character. I like that. I mean, at some point in time, Raquel Gonzalez is going to break off on her own and no longer be just her heater, which I get it. But Dakota Kai is not the bland individual I thought she was. It was always like Tegan Knox was going to be the star out of those two, but Tegan continues to get hurt. She's out again with more knee injuries. So Dakota Kai has been that person who's been a decent heel, in my opinion. Match this week with I almost said Ember Hill. Ember Moon was good. Not the finish sucked, but the rest of the match was good. And I like Dakota Kai. They've just missed the boat when it comes to putting the belt on her. I don't know if that's ever. I got a feeling it might. I think it might. I really see. It's so weird because I thought that they were going to take the title off of her, off of Io Shirai with Candice LeRae the second time around. I think they're going to take it off of her with Rhea Ripley. Um, I don't think Rhea's going to be long for NXT though. So maybe she loses that and goes up to face someone else. Maybe her and Oscar will be big. Her and Oscar and Io will be big too as well. But I'm not quite sure how that match is going to play out. But Dakota Kai can be a champion in NXT, especially with Raquel Gonzalez as a heater. Maybe have she win the belt with Raquel's help. Maybe keep it and defend it a little bit with Raquel's help, and then Raquel turns on her. But I do think that there's a way that they can get the belt onto Dakota and give her something solid. I would hate to see her on the main roster. I think she just becomes who can I compare her to? Maybe she just becomes a Liv who's just there. She becomes just a Lana, just a Peyton Royce or Lacey Evans, and no one wants to see that. She's much, much, much better than they would do her on the main roster. Another interesting bright spot to me, because I didn't like this guy at all, was Cameron Grimes. Um, he's grown on me. He's really, really, really grown on me as of late, and I am pleased with what I'm seeing from him. Yes, he's lost a couple matches as a heel. He's just losing to Dexter Lumis at Halloween Havoc, but he's pulling off his character in a very enjoyable way. He audibly makes me laugh when he's on TV, and I don't audibly laugh at a lot of stuff anymore when it comes to pro wrestling. But Cameron Grimes is a bright spot that I really appreciate. Plus, I had a connection that I went to college in Burlington, North Carolina, so I'm very familiar with that area. He reminds me of like the Hicks that I used to see down there during that time. But he's doing it. He's doing it. They're going to have to give this guy some type of run at some point in time because he is getting over with me and he's getting over with a lot of other people too as well. I didn't put this down on my agenda, but Kushida is another one who I'm enjoying much more of. Obviously, it's Kushida, one of the best wrestlers in the world. I want to love this guy through and through. But his recent run, where they haven't been giving him 50-50 booking, he's been winning consistently for the last. He's been winning consistently since what? The Austin Theory match I saw? Basically, since that Cruiserweight tournament, he's been winning pretty consistently since then. And he looks good. I think I would love to see him get a full push into the title picture, or if him and Johnny Gargano face off each other for that NXT North American title, or if him and Finn go at it in some way, shape, or form. I'm totally here for that, and I would love to see how that plays out. The last bit of what am I calling this? Bright spots for WWE for this week was last Thursday. Ilja Dragunov and Walter had a fucking brouhaha of a match. They beat the shit out of each other. And they did it in a way that was just stupid enjoyable from start to finish. Like, the match starts with Dragunov basically landing a bro kick to Walter's face. That's really how the match starts. And then it just continues to escalate from there. More and more brutality. And I was watching it. I wrote about it this week. I was watching it, and there's a point where I'm just sitting there with my mouth agape because they're just beating the fuck out of each other. And it's the brutality that I am not going to look away from because it seems like I had no idea who was going to win. You can kind of see that Walter was going to keep the title for a little while. Well, I mean, not keep it for a little while. He's had it for almost a year, but good God Almighty, the beating that Dragunov took, the beating that Walter gave out, it was perfect selling from both guys. I really enjoyed this match, and I enjoyed everything that they've had that they had to offer in this match. And man, it was exceptional from start to finish. If you did not see this match, go hop on the network, watch it, and watch it again after that. I had to watch it for a second time just because it was so enjoyable, and it in my opinion is one of the 5 best matches in WWE this year. This Drew Gulak versus Daniel Bryan, Kyle O'Reilly versus Finn Balor, Sasha versus Bayley at Hell in a Cell, perhaps that 6-man tag match from NXT last week. There are some good matches that we've seen in COVID era wrestling in WWE. This match is one of the top 5. Very easily for me. Very, very, very easily. This is one of the top 5 matches of the year. And I'm going to say it again. If you have not seen it, go and watch it and just sit back and enjoy some ass kicking pro wrestling because it is that from start to finish. So I want to turn my attention to New Japan for a quick moment. I haven't caught much of New Japan since the end of the G1. So I'm going to figure out some time to make that happen because there's been a lot of good wrestling over there. But they have an event I think it's going on probably right now, actually. So there should be some interesting stuff coming out of that. I haven't had a chance to watch it. Or, excuse me, I don't get to watch New Japan live just because of when it is. But New Japan announced their Super J Cup for this year, and it's scheduled for December 12th. And it's a 1-day tournament. It's going to take place in the United States. There's 8 participants. El Phantasmo, who won it last year, Clark Connors, Blake Christian, Chris Bay, TJP, ACH, Ray Horace, and Leo Rush. Now, this is a fucking group to me, and I was writing about this as well this week, and it's hard to kind of predict who comes at it. I will say the semifinals will be El Phantasmo, Chris Bay, ACH, and Leo Rush. Those are going to be the last four. And I'm going to go out and say that I think that Chris Bay makes it to the final. I think it's going to be a Chris Bay Leo Rush final or a Chris Bay El Phantasmo final. That's what I'm going with right now. I think New Japan will put their guy in the final. Him and Clark Connors are the only. So Phantasmo Clark Connors are signed to uh, New Japan. Blake Christian is a free agent. ACH is a free agent. Leo Rush is a free agent. Ray Horse is signed to Ring of Honor. And Chris Bay and TJP are signed to Impact. It's fantastic when these organizations find a way to work together. But this is something I am totally looking forward to. I think this is right before I take my 2-week vacation at the end of the year. I wish it was that was the day it would start, because that would be a hell of a way to start it off. But this is going to be some good ass fucking pro wrestling. I love they have 3 black men in this event. I think two Latinos. This is going to be great. And TJP, I think he's Asian, I believe. I'm not 100% sure, but this is a diverse group of wrestlers, and it's a diverse stylistically group of wrestlers as well too. They're going to tear it the hell up, and I'm looking forward to seeing how this joint plays out, because they're going to put on a damn show. But this is something that's enjoyable, something worth watching. It'll be in the United States, so it's good to still see New Japan picking back up and attempting to take on that expansion again. But I'm all about I'm all about some fantastic pro wrestling, and this is really going to be it. So Super J Cup on December 12th. Make sure you watch that. So with that being said, we're going to go ahead and close out this week's show. As always, my name is Raphael Garcia, and I thank you all for taking the time to listen to this show. You can catch me and my ramblings over on Instagram and Twitter at rgarcia_sports. MMA ratings as a platform. You can hit us up at a couple of different places. You have MMAratings.net and MMAratings.com. Those are our flagships. Go check us out over there. You can catch us on Instagram and Twitter at MMARatingsNet, one word. Our podcasting network is obviously on YouTube, MMA Ratings Net. There's MMA Ratings, excuse me. And then you can also catch our content on podcasting networks such as Anchor, Spotify, YouTube. What am I forgetting? Anchor, Spotify, Breaker, Google Podcasts. That's what I was forgetting. But yes, we will be back next week. Check out our MMA shows that come up on Tuesdays, myself and Shawan Hume. Thank you, everyone. Stay safe and enjoy the rest of your weekend. Have a good night.